by Dr. Tanya Harket. She's the Director of Research Compliance and Ethics here at ASB. So as you embark on research, you see that ethics is very important. And, so if you shed some light on ethics and misconduct.
How's everybody doing? Good. The heat wear you out?
Yes.
It's a little cooler today. Before I get started, I always like to know who I'm talking to. So if you could just share your name, your classification, your university, and even if you want to share what you plan to do after graduation, that'll be wonderful. Okay, let me start with you.
My name is Amina Durrahim, rising senior at Washington State University, IT major. And, right after I graduate, I'll just be a senior graduate.
Okay.
My name is Walker Cherry. I'm a junior computer science major at Upper State University.
Okay.
After school, probably just attend graduate school also. Carter Kaler, junior at Southern Methodist University, studying computer science and applied math.
Where's Southern Methodist?
Dallas, Texas.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're used to this heat. This is nothing for you, right? Graduate school afterwards?
Yeah, probably for applied math.
Oh, okay.
Janila Tala, recent graduate from St. University.
Okay.
And I'm going to Central.
Okay, great.
I'm Adesha Nelson, a rising junior at Jacksonville State University, a CS major, and I'm going to go to graduate school.
Jacksonville State, Florida?
No, Alabama.
I love Jackson State.
Jacksonville, Alabama.
All right. Alabama, you used to this heat too.
Centriana Patterson. I am a junior at Jackson State University
Okay.
in Jackson, Mississippi.
Okay.
I'm a computer engineering major, and I plan on going to grad school as well.
Okay.
My name is Haley Muller. I'm a rising senior at Mississippi College. I'm studying kinesiology and I plan to go to grad school for biomechanics.
Okay.
Kennedy Garrett, electrical engineer, sophomore at Savannah State University. Probably going to grad school.
Eric Fagan, I'm a rising sophomore at NC State University in math and mechanical engineering, and I'll probably go to grad school as well.
Yeah, everybody's going to grad school. That's the way to go, right?
My name is Jared Boggs. I'm a rising sophomore studying mechanical engineering at the University of Kentucky, and I plan on going to work after.
Okay.
When I come back, we'll go straight to work.
Okay.
I'm Cameron Evangelista. I'm an applied math and statistics major from North Carolina State University, and after graduation, I'll probably be going to the University of Washington for grad school.
Washington, as in the state of Washington.
Yes.
Greetings, my name is Emmanuel Charles Terrell. I am a computer information systems from Livingstone College. I am a rising junior, and my plans is, God willing, to go to grad school.
Okay. Today it's nice to meet you all, and I'm hoping you're enjoying your time here at Aggie Land. So today we're just gonna have a conversation. I'm not gonna talk at you, but we're gonna discuss research ethics and research misconduct. How many of you have already conducted research at your institution? So how many of you have already done some studies of ethics and misconduct? Great, so we're gonna have a good conversation, aren't we? It's not gonna take very long. Okay, research. You've all done it, you're in the flows and thick of it now. How do you define it? If you had to tell a fifth grader, and just yell out, you don't have to raise your hand. If you had to tell a fifth grader what research is, how would you define it for them?
Studying other people's work to solve a problem.
Okay.
I would say like hands-on learning.
Okay.
Looking into a problem, hands-on.
Okay. What makes research as opposed to just answering a question?
Because you're researching to making a situation better, or making a project or any item better, I feel.
There are steps that you have to take in order to get to the answer.
Ding, ding, ding. Ding, ding, ding. It's a systematic investigation, right? So we answer questions all the time. We do some lit reviews and things like that. But there has to be a systematic way to do it. When we were all in high school, what did they call it? The Scientific method, right? So you know you had to identify a problem, then you had to define what it was, or your question, what you're looking for. Had to do some searching to see if someone else has done it before. You have to figure out how you're gonna do it, collect the data, analyze it, and then explain your findings. So the research methods, that's what makes research, right? So there's two categories. So those of you that have done research, there's two categories of research. Basic and applied. What's basic? Basic research.
Basic.
What makes it basic?
It's not really creative. It's not really something that's very interesting. It's like common sense.
Discover something new.
Okay. I mean, yeah.
Oh, it's when you do research, but you don't know you're doing research. I was looking at the picture.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Basic research. I haven't heard the ding, ding, ding yet. Basic research.
It's like the background work before you figure out how you can use it.
Kinda. Could be. But what makes it basic? Just basic.
There's not a lot of thought put into it.
There's some thought put into it.
An experiment.
Okay, that what? An experiment that what?
Like you don't know if it's
Follow
useful yet.
the normal steps.
You didn't know you was doing it.
So basic, when you think about basic, I'm gonna give you an example. That's an example. I'm gonna give you another example. If I wanted to find out why blood is red, why is my blood red? When I find out, then what?
You can't really elaborate on it.
I have the answer to my question, right? Basic. Why is the sky blue? Why is water wet? Why, so once you find out, you know. So basic is basically just to know, expand your knowledge, and to answer those questions. Why is it? What is it? How is it? So if that's basic, then what is applied?
You're finding out like the underlying mechanism in a sense.
You want to find
So
the
that-
applications of the new knowledge.
You can expand on it.
Remember, and when people used to say, what is the definition of something, whatever a word is, and they say, don't define the word with the word. Remember they used to say that? This time I'm gonna let you define the word with the word. So applied research is
Something that you apply to basic research.
you apply it to
Basic research.
life, yes, and
Science.
why you do research, because you notice that there is a problem or a gap. So yes, so the research that you apply to problems, right? So you're gonna find a cure for any disease. You're gonna apply it to a problem, an issue, a gap. You want to improve conditions, human conditions. So just knowing what color blood is doesn't improve anything, it just adds to your knowledge. But understanding what can cure disease, or how a community can improve, or anything like that, we consider that applied. So it's just basically two. Now our ethics. And we start off with definitions so we can just move forward with discussion. So ethics, how do you define ethics? And I know y'all already had lunch, right? So I got you all after lunch, so you should embrace it. Yes, sir.
I guess the moral reasoning behind research, I guess.
Just ethics,
Yeah.
ethics in general.
Yeah. Right or wrong way to do things.
A moral code of conduct.
Yeah. So it's a code of conduct, right? To know what is acceptable and not acceptable.
Boundaries.
Yeah. And so who defines ethics? Who defines what is ethical?
People of a higher level.
We do, people of higher level, who else? Who else defines ethics? What is ethical? Your conscience,
Anybody?
your who?
I say anybody.
Anybody, what about organizations? So do you think ethics is the same across the board?
No.
In various communities? In various institutions? In various disciplines? No, it's not. When I was a student here at A&T 30-some years ago, I took classes at UNC Greensboro. And so here at A&T, when it was time to take an exam, the instructor was in the room, the instructor was walking around. So that was pretty much, you know what's right and wrong because somebody's going to be watching you. At UNCG, in a classroom, you had to sign something that said, I will not cheat, basically. And then the instructor leaves the room. So knowing what's acceptable and unacceptable is different, depending on where you are. And you have to understand that and know that where you are, there may be a whole different code of ethics or ethical behavior based on the organization, the institution, the community, the people you're talking to. So we need to understand that. Ethics and legal, are they the same?
No.
Can they be the same?
Sometimes.
You can have some ethical laws, you can have some unethical laws. You can do something that's unethical that doesn't even break the law. But you have to know the two and know the difference between the two. So here's some principles of ethical behavior. Honesty, we all know that. Objectivity, being open-minded and not thinking that everything is based on your beliefs, but being open-minded and hearing what other people have to say. Integrity, doing what you say you're going to do. I'm going to do this experiment and I'm going to do it how it's laid out in the procedures and not bypass any of the steps. Carefulness, openness, respect for intellectual property. What does that mean? Respect for intellectual property.
To not stealing people's work.
Respect for it.
Giving them credit.
Not claiming it as your own.
So
Citing it.
Hmm?
Make sure you cite it.
Yeah, so you all are talking about plagiarism, but okay, yes, we can use it that way too, not plagiarizing and intellectual property. But what about inventions? So respecting somebody's creativity and their thought process, that's all a part of intellectual property. Somebody else's property of their intelligence. Okay, what about confidentiality? We know respect for colleagues. We all are different, we all have different ideas, we all speak differently, we all come from different backgrounds, have different experiences. So just respecting our colleagues in our field of discipline and those outside of our field of discipline. Because many times people say if you're not in STEM, you're just doing something easy. But respecting that all of this works together in order for our world and our communities to be better. So you can't have STEM without non-STEM, because then who's going to teach you all the social behaviors and how to interact with people and how to manage and how to lead. So it's that confidence, being able to know your craft and know it well. Legality, I'm going to add that in with animal care and human subjects, although you all are IT computer people. However, when it comes to using these subjects in research, there are many, many, many regulations. And just, I'm sure, like it is in computer science, there are regulations around privacy and around things that you can and cannot do, but being respectful of that and making sure that anything that you use, the welfare of it is taken at the highest priority. Research ethics, you all discussed that earlier. Someone talked about what's acceptable and not acceptable in research. So we know that there are regulations around anything that you do in research and following that out. Misconduct, research misconduct. The definition that's used from regulatory agencies include fabrication, falsification, and plagiarism. Fabrication is
Making up results.
making up stuff. Falsification is,
Lying about your methods.
say again?
Lying about your methods, your methodology.
Yeah, I'll give you some more. Yeah. Falsification, lying, modifying, because it could be some truth to it, but then you change it a little bit falsification, and plagiarism. Those are somebody's ideas, right? Without giving them proper credit. Here are some examples. So you change data to obtain your research question answered favorably, right? So I don't even know how to give you a IT. My background is not computer science. So I couldn't even give you an example there. But anyway, let's see. Computer programming. You see something, your question is, how does this program work with this other program? Respect your colleagues that are not in your system, okay? And then you find out that it doesn't work well, but then you say, it works well here, there, and there. Fabrications, making up stuff, right? Adding codes, adding stuff that's not really there. And we know plagiarism. When I was young, my mother used to say, if you lie, you will cheat. And if you cheat, you will steal. And if you steal, you will kill, okay. So all of these are lying, cheating, and stealing. So that speaks to your what? Integrity. So it all aligns with your ethical behavior. And when it comes to research, it can tear down your reputation as a researcher. The one thing about the regulation regarding the definition for research misconduct, it has to be proven that you intended to do it. So an honest mistake, they don't consider that research misconduct. But again, you have to prove that you did it intentionally. So I forgot to put that in, I can prove that I forgot. Or sometimes your reputation, because they have to investigate and people have to testify on your behalf. So if you're known to lie, then even if you're telling the truth, people say, oh, that she or he is a liar. So they probably intend to do it. Whereas unethical behavior, you just move away from those principles, whatever they are, in your field of study or in your community. Questions, thoughts, concerns? Okay. Here's a little scenario. So the research protocol for a study of a drug on hypertension requires the administration of a drug at different doses to 50 lab mice with chemical and behavioral tests to determine toxic effects. Tariq has almost finished the experiment for Dr. Q. He has only 5 mice left. However, he really wants to finish his work in time to go to Florida on spring break with his frat brothers who are leaving tonight. He's already injected the drug in all 50 mice, but have not completed all of the tests. He therefore decides to extrapolate from the 45 completed results to produce the 5 additional results. What's wrong with that?
That would be misconduct because he did it intentionally.
He did it intentionally. What did he do?
Fabricated results.
Fabricated the results?
I would say falsification.
Falsified information.
Because he gonna lie and say all 50, was 45.
And how easy do you think that is to do? How easy do you think?
Probably really easy.
I was talking to another class about this. They were actually high school students. And I said, how many of you would do this? And several of them said, I would. But that's because as you mature as a researcher, you understand that what you do on the front line impacts down the line. You may not see it, but what you do, let's say this was a cancer study, although it says hypertension, but what if it was a cancer study? And your lab technicians, because you're the PI, and you know when you get your PhD and you start working, you make the technicians do everything, right? So your technician is working and they're fabricating all of this information, but then you publish it. Because this is what's happening in your lab. and then somebody tries to replicate it or use it in a different study, they won't find the same results. But then what if, they believe because of your reputation that this is true and they continue to use it and then they make assumptions about it. So this drug actually does cure cancer because the research shows, because that's what many of these studies come out, research shows that. And now, many, many years ago, the commercials that say, take this drug, however the side effects are, and it's like a list of all the side effects and then death is at the end. Many years ago, you didn't hear that. Take this drug because it helps with this. And then you would have to read the side effects on the bottle, which were microscopic, so you just didn't read all of that. But now, because of the way fabrication and falsification and what people are finding out, companies and researchers are being held accountable for what they're saying, pretty much. So this is really easy to do, because when you're a student, and if Tariq is going with his frat brothers, he's an undergrad, ready to go to Florida, got this opportunity in the lab, I'm gonna hurry up and get this done so I can get out of here. Really easy to do, because he can't see the end result. He's just doing a task and he's not invested. Here's another one. Dr. B has just discovered a mathematical error in a paper that has been accepted for publication in a journal. The error does not affect the overall results of the research, but it is potentially misleading. The journal has just gone to press, so it's too late to catch the error before it appears in print. In order to avoid embarrassment, Dr. B decides to ignore the error. What's wrong with that? Or is there anything wrong with that?
You could publish like a mini little article stating, this was my paper, but there was a slight error. If anybody wanted to replicate it or whatnot, this would be the proper thing to do in this step, if you wanted to.
But does he have to do it?
No.
He should.
Why should he?
Because it's misleading.
But then,
People are going to
then
find
the
out.
overall results.
Potentially.
It doesn't affect the end result.
But it kind of messes up, if you're supposed to be an expert in this field and you're giving misleading results, but you get the right result. I would still question you because you didn't intentionally get that result the way you're supposed to. You kind of gave a shady area and then you got to your result.
If there's an error in this work, how do you know there's not an error in all of his other works? And you can't trust his math after that point.
If someone else uses that to try to repeat the experiment or repeat whatever was done in the paper, they may not be able to, so they might get wrong results because the math is wrong.
Exactly. So it speaks to, again, integrity. I'm not a mathematician, and I know there's various ways to get to a certain answer, but he should, if he had integrity, contact the journal and say, there's a mistake here, please reprint it with this description stating where the mistake is and how it can be corrected. Or just publish the new article with the corrections. One more. So Dr. H has been attempting to produce a digital image of the structure of a protein. Each image that he's taken includes an unexplained blob that obscures the protein's structure. To produce a clean image, Dr. H uses a digital image manipulation program to cut out the blob from one image and replace it with an unobscured part from a different image. He submits the image for publication without explaining how it was manipulated.
Definitely an issue.
It's
definitely an issue.
Why is that definitely an issue?
He used another program to make what he's supposed to originally make and didn't tell anybody that he used that program, which probably is vital information when they try to do it and they don't know why they got a blob as well.
But he removed the blob.
But the blob's still part of the protein. He messed with what the protein actually looks like.
But what if it wasn't supposed to be a part of the protein? What if it was just unexplained? It was just fault in the software or something
It happened,
Well, that's still.
it happened multiple times though.
And
Because
you
it was
can-
taken, all the pictures that were taken included that.
and that's still valuable information.
Yeah.
And like explaining that, like, we got this image and then we got that image and then like the protein probably looks like this, is just like an extra paragraph in the paper.
Tell them.
It's like.
Yeah, it's real easy to discuss what you would and would not do until you have to do it, right? So, it's just looking at yourself in the mirror and checking your integrity. What is right to do? Especially when I'm doing research, what is right to do? Because it doesn't only affect me, but it can affect a whole lot of people. One other thing I want to talk about, and this is not a long presentation at all, so you all get to chill in about 5 minutes, so get some sun, whatever. Conflict of interest. Conflict of interest. Have you all discussed conflict of interest anywhere in your stuff? Yeah? What did they discuss with you? What do you remember?
Well, it's like when, like when someone is incentivized to do something that is like not directly what they're supposed to be doing. That's I don't know. Like an example is like politicians doing something because like some corporation is paying them to pass some legislation, right? They're doing it because they're incentivized to do it, and that's like beneficial to them, but it hurts their actual overall purpose.
Yes. Personal benefit. So how do we relate that to research? How do you relate that to research?
Like if you had a deal with like a drug company,
Mm-hmm.
like if you was a researcher that was help making a drug and a drug company said, well, we'll give you like 10% of the shares, like you're more likely to like rush your like research.
Okay.
Or if you think something's gonna come out one way, but all your results shows the complete opposite, show that you were like completely wrong. Maybe a conflict of interest could be like you wanting to make your results look good based on what you said instead of like what they actually were.
If somebody is paying you to find out the results.
Right.
Because the conflict would be with you and some outside entity that is almost giving you the opportunity to provide them with information while you benefit as well. So is conflict of interest okay?
Sometimes.
As long as you make the right decision in that conflict of interest.
Mm-hmm. And as long as you tell somebody that there's a conflict. So it's okay to disclose it. So it's okay to have a conflict. But then you need to manage it. So I have a conflict. My father owns a pharmaceutical company, and I work in an institution and do research with a drug that could possibly work or be manufactured at that pharmaceutical company. However, because my father owns the company, that's the first conflict that I need to disclose, that there's some relationship there to make people aware that I'm not gonna mess up my integrity. I want you to know that there's a relationship. However, to manage it, I'm not gonna work directly with him. I'm gonna work with somebody else. The second conflict could be that they're asking for me to find a cure or whatever the drug can do and only give them the positive. I don't want to hear the negative. Just tell me that it answers my questions. I don't want to hear what the side effects are. Conflict. And you need to disclose these things. So that's the whole basis of conflict of interest. When you tell someone and it can be managed, then we work with that. And sometimes it can't be managed, then regulatory agencies say, no, we're not gonna give you money to do that because that can't be managed. How it works with students, researcher, you're working with a researcher that has a company. They work at the institution and they have a side company. And what they do in their company aligns really well with what they do at the institution as far as research. you're working in their lab, and they say, oh, can you come and run those tests at my company on the weekends? Or the machine that you're using in my lab, can you just bring that with you and work in my company and finish your results there? Conflict. So here are just some examples. So, I can't even see that. So there's a wolf, or whatever he is. Say hello to everyone to Bert Phelps. He'll be taking the job of security manager for our entire poultry products division. Conflict. You know he will eat all the profit, or potentially eat all the profit. So there needs to be a management plan, right? So Mr. Wolf or Alligator, whatever he is, Mr. Wolf, when you go into, first of all, they shouldn't have hired him, but he's there. When you go into the poultry unit, there has to be someone else there. You don't think it's a wolf?
No, we still trying to think of what he is. It's just-
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
Maybe not.
He said something with teeth.
Something with teeth.
Something that will eat the poultry. So when you go into the poultry lab or poultry unit, you're gonna have a shepherd. You're gonna have, or whatever, somebody that protects the poultry. Here's another one. So the boss says, yes, I am employee of the month again. And yes, I'm the one who chooses the employee of the month. And no, I don't see a conflict of interest.
Oh, wait.
So, silly, but this happens. People in positions of authority can choose who they want sometimes. Well, it happens, who they want, based on their decision and no one else's. And it could be a major conflict. Last one. Try this. I just bought 100 shares. So you know, there's a big issue in the healthcare industry where physicians push certain drugs based on their relationship with pharmaceuticals. Whether I'll give you money to make sure that people use this drug. There are many cases that you can search and find. But conflict of interest. So these are the things that you want to avoid with regards to research ethics and misconduct. Questions, thoughts, concerns? Pretty simple, right? Yeah, this is just to make you aware. Make you aware of these things going into your research project. So how long have you all been here? About a week?
4
You've already been here 4.5 weeks?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we got here, May 20th. Mm-hmm. It's June 20th.
Wow. So have any of you all come across any of these things? Misconduct,
Calm down.
unethical behavior? It's like you're about to say something. Anyway, that's all I have for you. I hope you enjoyed this. You got one more month?
Yeah.
Next month. Who you working with?
Balaram.
Balaram, who else? Who's James?
Dr. Sundaresan.
Sandrisa, okay.
Dr. McCullough.
McCullough.
Stephen Tang.
Yeah, okay.
Sunny.
Okay.
Sunny. Sunny.
Oh, Sunny.
Sunny. Goodbye.
All right. Well, that's all I have for you guys. Enjoy your stay. Get some sun, some ice cream. All right.
Well, you're weird too.
Turn your college into
No, I mean, can I see the email that you sent saying, let's move on?
Oh no, this is.